Howdy folks, Matty with Gulf Coast Fit. Thanks for joining me here in the Atitlan Underground in Sierra Atitlan. Today I'd like to share with you a little bit of forearm training, something that I think most people, including myself, even devout gym goers and trainees, forearm training or grip strength training is something that can be highly neglected, or at least somewhat neglected, unless you're an avid rock climber or arm wrestler or grip strength specialist, or you're into strongman training. Chances are you could do with a little bit of forearm and grip training. And a couple of reasons why forearm training or grip strength training kind of go hand in hand, but a couple of reasons why they're highly beneficial for anybody is that A, can help stave off elbow tendonitis. Oftentimes elbow tendonitis, which is very common amongst gym goers or athletes, it's due to the fact that their forearm musculature, especially the brachialis, brachioradialis, wrist extensors, either finger extensors as well, are underdeveloped and understimulated. We do a lot of gripping. We do a lot of the same types of gripping. All of the weights that we usually handle are the same circumference, and there's not a lot of variety. And although we will be using dumbbells that are a very typical girth today, I want to show you 8 different forearm training exercises. Some of them might be familiar, some of them might be new to you. I want to stick to one piece of equipment to keep it simple. You can certainly do some excellent barbell grip strength forearm training. You can use cables, different odd implements, but even bands, balls. But something that I want to do is keep it simple for everyone, or as many people as possible, and something that we commonly have access to are a pair of dumbbells. And you don't need very heavy dumbbells, so you might start with even just 5 pounds for some of these exercises. If you're unfamiliar with them, I think that'll be plenty. I've used up to 20 pounds in previous years, but right now, in my current state of negligence for forearm and grip strength training, I'm going to use some 10s. So I've got a pair of 10-pound dumbbells here, and we're going to start off with some good old-fashioned wrist curls. So we're going to rest the forearms on our thighs, keep the forearms nice and stable, nice and level. We're going to let the wrist extend. I'm actually going to open my fingers up and incorporate not just a wrist curl, but I'm incorporating a finger curl into the wrist curl. So that way, the hands, or the muscles in my hands that flex my fingers are operating in conjunction with the muscles in my forearms that flex my wrists. I like anywhere between 10 and 20 reps. And every single rep, I'm getting a big squeeze at the top and a good stretch at the bottom. See how I close my fist and then curl the wrist? And then I extend and open the hands to let my fingers take over a little bit. You've got a lot of muscles, small muscles that all work together to move your wrists and forearms in the various ways that they're capable of. And so part of the key here for this forearm workout, it's really getting somewhere now, is to attack the forearms from a lot of different angles, and you'll see that we're going to do just that. All right, I'm approaching 20 reps soon. I'm going to get a couple more. I got a nice forearm burn going on here. As you can see, I'm getting a big squeeze at the top of each rep. Oh yeah. Shake it out a little bit. A lot of muscles, a lot of Latin words that I forget, but I know we're working the flexor carpi radialis and the flexor carpi ulnaris. Easy to remember because you've got a radius and an ulna in your forearm. Now we're simply going to flip it over and do some reverse wrist curls to address the wrist extensors, including the extensor carpi radialis and extensor carpi ulnaris, amongst others. Those are just 2 of the primary movers here that have stuck with me over the years. To whip out one of my college textbooks one of these times. So you'll see we've got the hands, wrists in a pronated position, palms facing down now. My pinky fingers are wedged up against one edge or one side of the dumbbell so that there's actually a bit more weight on the insides of my hands. That helps promote the pronation of your wrists if you've got the weights offset so that there's more weight towards your thumb end. Oh, this gets tough in a hurry. You might notice the wrist extensions quite a bit harder than the wrist curls. We've got smaller, weaker muscles working here. Crank out about 5 more, speed it up just to burn it out. Oh, now I'm going to shake it out again. Already feeling a nice little forearm pump. All right, let's switch up the angles again. We're going to go for some wrist abduction now, which is a small but mighty movement that plays a heavy role in your overall wrist and elbow health and your grip strength. So in order to do these wrist abductions, I'm going to take a neutral grip now. Notice that my pinkies are wedged down towards the bottom of the dumbbell once again. Forearms resting flat on the thighs. I'm going to tilt the thumb end of the dumbbells away from me, keeping my forearms flat against my thighs. And then I'm going to draw my thumb end of the dumbbell back towards my body, towards my shoulders. Grip it tight so that dumbbell doesn't slide down your hands. And although you might not feel a great deal of range of motion here, that's fine. Wrists don't abduct and adduct very much, but it is an important movement pattern to address. Pull the thumbs back towards you. Control the descent, control the negative. Just like any lift, we control both directions. Don't let gravity take over. Keep your muscles in charge. Keep your mind-muscle connection in charge. I'm getting a nice burn here in the forearms. Hey, puppies! Trampling plants as usual. I'm going to speed it up. Sometimes I like to crank out and speed up the last several reps just to get some more in. Whew, nice burn. Now, we'll focus on the opposite movement, which is wrist adduction. Now, can't really do that from this sitting position, in my opinion. And so we're going to stand on up. This time, we're going to have your thumb end of the dumbbell, your hands wedged up against the dumbbells. I'll give you a side view here. Just going to stand tall, shoulders back, keep it tight. Now let the pinky end of the dumbbells drop down, and then draw the pinky end of the dumbbells up and behind you. So you'll see here now we're working against gravity in the opposite direction. For the wrist abduction, we were pulling the thumbs back. But now for the wrist adduction, we're pulling the pinkies back. Once again, this is wrist adduction. And from this side view here, it's working the back of my forearms. Now, one of the keys here, because you can't really go super heavy on any of these, control is key, is you don't want to just move the weight, let it get sloppy. You don't want to just go through the motions teeter-tottering. Squeeze and pause, control and lower. Squeeze and pause, control and lower. Again, depending on your weight and experience, between 10 and 20 reps is a good zone to be in. Speed it up to 5 more. Wonderful. Once again, I'm going to give it a little shake. All right, feeling good. The next exercise we're going to go into are some wrist rollers, where we're focusing on pronation and supination of the wrists. Now you can do this standing or sitting. I'm actually going to do it sitting with my forearms supported on my thighs again, just to help keep it strict. Starting in a pronate or a supinated position, as you can see, palms up. What I'm going to do is pronate down, supinate up. Pronate down, supinate up. Over and back is 1 rep. And once again here, I've got the weight offset. My pinkies are wedged up against one end of the dumbbell, so I've got more weight on the thumb end of the dumbbell. Now this provides more resistance for both pronating and supinating, reversing and decelerating and stopping in both directions. Sometimes I like to incorporate the biceps a little bit more into this, which automatically incorporates the brachialis and brachioradialis, which are very important forearm muscles that work in conjunction with your biceps. The brachioradialis is especially active here, along with a small but mighty muscle called the anconeus. That one just came back to me. So I'm stopping at 180, reverse 180. Got muscles in between your radius and your ulna that pronate and supinate. Very important for wrist, hand, elbow joint health. Get 5 more over and back, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Oh. Nelly. All right, we're going to go on to another wrist curl variation, kind of taking it full circle here. And this is a standing wrist curl. This is very commonly done with a barbell behind your back, but I find that challenging because my butt gets in the way. So I feel pretty good with a pair of dumbbells. Let me give you a back view here. I'm going to pull my shoulders back so the dumbbells are kind of behind me. That helps. Simply doing wrist curls behind us. Squeeze and pause. Helps a lot to have your shoulders back, chest out. Pull those arms behind you a little bit. If you want, you can get the finger flexors in the mix a little bit, hand muscles. So it's not just a wrist curl, but it's a finger curl as well. It's kind of an added bonus, may as well in my opinion. We have 5 more. All right. Nice forearm pump going on here. Feels good. Good. All right. 2 more exercises now. We're actually moving on to 2 bicep curl variations. First, we've got a reverse curl. Let's take a seat here just to take the legs out of the equation. Sit tall, shoulders back, core tight. You're going to keep the wrist and palms pronated, facing down. I'm going to squeeze at the top, and yes, it is a bicep curl variation, so we are hitting the biceps, but with this pronated grip, we're calling into play the brachialis, the brachioradialis, the anconeus, which is a small muscle by your tip of your elbow, and the lateral head of your biceps. So although this does hit the biceps, it does a great job of hitting your wrist extensors and forearms. Now this is a bigger, stronger exercise because the biceps are involved. This is why we save these for last. Get 5 more. And then we'll finish with 1 more bicep variation, bicep curl variation. And the reason we put it last is because it's the biggest, strongest of all 8 forearm exercises. And that is good old-fashioned hammer curl. So we've got a neutral grip now. This focuses a little bit less, it includes the brachioradialis a little less, and forces the brachialis to take over a little bit more. Brachialis is very, very crucial for staving off elbow tendonitis, every lifter's arch nemesis. Now, after all of those forearm exercises leading up to this, these 10-pounders are plenty effective for me. And just for reference, if I was going to bust out a heavy set of hammer curls, I might use 30, 35, or even 40 pounds, depending on how many reps I'm doing. So here my forearms are on fire, and the 10s are sufficient because we did all that other good forearm work leading up to this. So the order of operations is important here. 5 more, I'm going to speed it up. Oh yeah, forearms are feeling good. Use a nice stretch. So give that a go. For most anyone, especially if you're not, you haven't incorporated a lot of forearm training into your routine in the past or in recent history, one time through all that is plenty. So if you're really have grip strength goals, maybe you could do 2 rounds or do that routine twice a week. But in my opinion, for the average person like me, running through that routine once a week will help give me a lot of progress. The stronger your grip is, the easier every other exercise where you're holding something is, whether you're doing pull-ups, bench press, rows, curls, what have you. The stronger you can grip something, the better you can control it. So grip strength is very important. So give it a go, have fun, enjoy the games.